Why do I like things that cause me pain? I feel like people only liked Gale because he was played by Hannah Montana's ex-boyfriend and Thor's brother. Y'all over here looking up to Sharpay and Jade West. Look up to Johanna. Johanna is the girl that you need to go to for that, because like Finnick was fine and he knew it. He knew he was fine, okay? Slightly off topic, but I know Gale was not happy when Peeta announced that Katniss was pregnant. I knew he was shaking his boots. I knew it. Catching Fire literally is up there with Shrek 2 for being one of the greatest sequels of all time, okay? Catching Fire literally is up there with Shrek 2 for being one of the greatest sequels of all time, okay? The Hunger Games is literally what got me into that teen dystopian young adult book craze that everybody was on that really did not age well. Katniss literally could not catch a break. Hey y'all, it's Harriyanna and welcome back to the pirate ship, Harry Hook's pirate ship. I don't know what you're in for, but you're in for something. If you are new here, hello, my name is Harriyanna and I like to make content based on nostalgia and children and families entertainment. Also, a quick reminder for those of you who are not aware, I am the captain and you are not my first mate. You don't tell me what to do. Before we can get on to today's video, because today's video is going to be a long one, so let's go ahead and try to knock out the commercials as quick as we can. One, I'm not on Twitter, okay? A lot of you guys have been asking me about Twitter because I know y'all are not on Tumblr, and like I say, Tumblr is like my safe haven and whatnot. But yes, I am not on Twitter. I was looking for more ways that I can connect with you guys and whatnot, and Twitter seems to be like the best option because that's where a lot of you are at. So it's going to be real fun over there. I will put my Twitter across the screen for you guys to go follow, and yeah, the captain's now on Twitter. It's gonna be a fun time and I can't wait. Yay. Next thing you know, we're gonna talk about Patreon. On Patreon, I post a lot of exclusive and behind the scenes content over there. You got access to my Discord, you get early access to my videos, and you get like a lot more of things that I had to offer over there. I don't want to come out and strictly say what those things are, but yeah, it's a real good time over there. It's a really good time over there. And it's gonna be great, especially in January. If you're part of the Patreon, you get something special. So yeah. Moving on from that, we gotta talk about the progenies because that does play into Patreon. I post a lot of behind the scenes content for the progenies. If you don't know what the progenies is, the progenies is basically my web series that I created with a few other people, and it is basically a retelling of Disney's Descendants. We're doing Descendants the right way. Descendants is trash, but we love the characters, so we decided to give them a better story. That's what the progenies is. Please go support the progenies. Please watch our pilot. Please share our pilot. Please share our Indiegogo campaign. We understand that not everybody has the funds to support our project, but y'all, just watching my YouTube videos, getting the pilot out there, just talking about it and whatnot, literally will help us get what we need. And yeah, I refuse to let the show flop. I'm doing whatever I can in my power to make sure it does well. So yes, if you can, please, pretty please, with cherries and sprinkles on top, go support the progenies. And also about the Twitter, don't worry, my little Tumblr pirates, I'm still over there all the freaking time. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. You know what? I have had 4 fandom stages in my life. And when I mean fandom stages, I'm talking about like TV. Celebrity fandom stages is another topic for another discussion, but my top 4 fandom stages that I went through is I went through my Teen Titans stage, I went through my Shake It Up stage, I went through my Hunger Games stage, and I am currently still in my Descendants stage. I know, shut up, Descendants makes me happy. I don't care. It's funny because people usually go up and up and up and up with the content that they like by age, and it's like I kind of went backwards because I was going up and up and up. I was like, okay, she likes Teen Titans, okay, she likes Shake It Up, oh, she likes the Hunger Games, she's mature now, and then you look and she's like, oh, she likes the Descendants now. Okay, I like Descendants because it makes me happy. If that upsets you, you can go suck it. Like I said, I am the captain. I can do what I want on my pirate ship. Nobody on the internet really knows me as being like a Hunger Games fan, and I was like a really big Hunger Games fan when it was popping, okay? I still am a fan, but I'm not like all into it like I am Descendants right now. Like, yeah, I'll go and read fics from time to time. I'll go and rewatch clips and things from the movies and like look at my old merchandise and things like that, but like The Hunger Games owned me from when I was about 13 to like 16 years old. It owned me, and it was ugly. Now, a lot of y'all, like I said, a lot of y'all do watch me and y'all be having no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm going to give you guys a quick little rundown of what the overall premise of the Hunger Games is. The Hunger Games is basically a world where it's like our world now, but let's say probably like 3,000 years into the future. And the government sucks. No surprise, nothing has changed. But two kids from every district, instead of like states or countries or things like that. Yes, we still have countries, but like, you know how in America we have states. Instead of that, they have districts now. There are 12 districts. Two kids from every district between the ages of 12 to 18 had to enter a contest called the Hunger Games. And basically the Hunger Games is basically when the kids fight to the death. And yeah, if you win, you get like a fancy lavish lifestyle. And then your district also gets money. If you lose, you just dead and your district gets nothing. Your district gets nothing. It's kind of sad. It's really, really sad. And the Hunger Games is dark, okay? And the Hunger Games is really, really dark, okay? Seriously, how did I move from Hunger Games to Descendants? Maybe because the Hunger Games depressed me so bad, I needed something a little bit lighter. But then next thing you know, Descendants can also get really, really depression too if you read the books. Why do I like things that cause me pain? Crazy thing about it is that that's the premise alone. That's not the plot. The plot of the Hunger Games is about a girl named Katniss that lives in District 12, which literally is one of the poorest districts in her country. Instead of America, it's called Panam. It's basically about how her life is falling apart more and more and more as the days go on, because she already didn't have a happy life whatsoever. And then, yeah, she had to go to the Hunger Games. She actually didn't have to go to the Hunger Games. Her little sister, Primrose, got chosen to be in the Hunger Games, and she know good and well she was not going to win. So she was like, you know what? I don't want my sister to die at the age of 12. She don't know nothing. She can't defend herself. So I'm going to step in and try to win this game. And spoiler alert, she did win this game. Now, that's a funny story that reminds me, because I asked my dad, no, I asked my sister. I straight up told my sister, I was like, if you got entered in the Hunger Games, I would volunteer for you and take your place. And she was like, oh, how sweet. And then I was like, would you do the same for me? She was like, no. And my dad was sitting right there. And I was like, did you just not hear what she said? And he was like, oh yeah, I understand why. I can see you winning, but I can't see her winning. So I was just like, okay, my dad's funny, but okay, my dad's actually really, really funny. Katniss could not catch a break, okay? We're strictly going to be talking about just catching fire in this video and not the last two movies in the last book. But I did have to get some background about the first one that started it all, because, you know, context. We need context, okay? But Katniss literally could not catch a break. Even after she was, like, growed up, she still didn't catch a break. And it's actually really, really sad. Now, how did I even get involved in the Hunger Games? Is that when I was in the 8th grade, my parents had bought me the Hunger Games on DVD. I asked them and they were like, sure, whatever. Like, my parents are actually very, very strict about what I can watch. But when I told them the Hunger Games was based off a book, they were like, okay, sure. And my parents would do anything to try to get me to read. So I watched the movie. I was freaking obsessed with it. I was in love. I didn't know what to do. I was in love. So I asked my parents, hey, do you think I could get the book? And they were like, sure. So they bought me all 3 books and I read all 3 of them. Catching Fire being my favorite. But I noticed when I read the first book, there was so much they left out of the movie. And I'm not saying that the first movie is bad, because it's actually pretty good in my opinion. But they left out a lot of details that I think would have contributed to the movie being better. And one thing I do have to give the Hunger Games is that it got me to start reading. Like, I didn't start really liking books like that until I literally read the entire Hunger Games trilogy, okay? Like, I like books here and there and whatnot, but the Hunger Games is what got me into that. Like, 'cause I like coming of age stuff that's realistic and whatnot, and that is what I'm more drawn to now that I am an adult and I do read books and whatnot. I'm more drawn to more realistic settings. But the Hunger Games is literally what got me into that teen dystopian young adult book craze that everybody was on that really did not age well. It did not age well. Like, I literally read all those books. I read it Twilight. I read Divergent. I hated both of those. I was gonna read Tiger's Curse. My sister hated Tiger's Curse so much, so I never read it. And then I was gonna read The Maze Runner, and I never got around to it. I personally think I would like The Maze Runner, though. I personally think I would like it, okay? I remember Percy Jackson got a movie that was freaking L. Like, don't get me started on that Percy Jackson movie. But yes, the young adult dystopian society genre was like a really, really big freaking deal. And it's kind of like we outgrew it. And a lot of those movies did not age well, but The Hunger Games aged beautifully, especially Catching Fire. Like I'm telling you, my life was flipped upside down. After I watched that movie, I had to know how the story continued. But Catching Fire, I literally would read Catching Fire over and over and over again because I thought it was just so beautiful. I really just didn't care about the content for the first movie no more. I was a Catching Fire slut. And I think the main reason why, I know the main reason why I love Catching Fire so much more than the first movie and the first book is because the characters. Character talk is going to be a fun one today, and I cannot wait to get into it, okay? Today's video, y'all always like to complain that I'm extremely negative in my videos, and I digress. I have my reasons for my negativity, okay? But today's video is going to be a strictly positive one. I usually like to say a lot of the shows that I think are genuinely good are chaotic masterpieces, but no. Catching Fire is a cinematic masterpiece, and I will explain to you why I'm right on that part, okay? Okay? 16 is a chaotic masterpiece. Okay? Scooby-Doo Zombie Island is a cinematic masterpiece, okay? Yeah. If you want a Scooby-Doo Zombie Island video, comment down below, okay? Comment down below, because I want to make one, but like, do the people want one? Because of how much I loved Catching Fire and how much I loved that book, I had very, 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 very high expectations for that movie. And it did not disappoint. I applaud y'all. I applaud y'all. Literally, Catching Fire is one of the best book to movie adaptations that I have seen in a while. And Stargirl, Disney Stargirl being one of the worst. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. The Catching Fire stage of the Hunger Games throughout the years that it was like in production and still airing and everybody was going crazy over it was a moment. Like the Hunger Games Catching Fire alone, like just take away Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, take away the first one, okay? Just have that one alone. The soundtrack was like doing well. There was lots and lots of merchandise. Everybody had a makeup line. People had nail polish lines. Every store had some type of merchandise strictly for Catching Fire. Like it literally was a freaking moment, and I love the fact that I was a part of it. And I wanted to buy it all, okay? I wanted to buy it all. I couldn't afford it all. I was able to get a pen, and I was able to get a nail polish and a t-shirt. That's all my little 14-year-old pockets could afford. Couldn't afford anything else, but you know, it was fun. I was happy with what I had, okay? I was happy with it because just having a piece of it made me happy. Like I said, I own all the movies currently. I own all the books. Like the Hunger Games literally is that freaking special to me. So, yes, I am aware Catching Fire is a sequel, but it's like the Shrek 2 effect, where I literally don't care about none of the other Shrek movies but Shrek 1, okay? And the Hunger Games, yes, I do love all the other movies because it was just so special to me, but it is something about Catching Fire that I genuinely just adore with all my heart, and I will get into that. Catching Fire literally is up there with Shrek 2 for being one of the greatest sequels of all time, okay? You literally, it's like Shrek 2. You don't have to go into watching Shrek 2 knowing much of anything about Shrek. Like, if you know the premise about basically how Shrek and Fiona got married, that's all you need to know. And then you can just watch the movie. With the Hunger Games, if you just know some of the content about the Hunger Games, Katniss won the Hunger Games and it affected her terribly. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. It's a really, really good standalone movie, if you ask me. Before I can begin, I gotta tell y'all, y'all gotta know a little bit of background about the Hunger Games, because I know somebody's gonna get angry with me talking about, you didn't explain what happened in the first movie, so I was confused about what you were talking about in Catching Fire. I was like, okay. So you know what, we're gonna give a short little synopsis of the first Hunger Games book and movie. Katniss's little sister named Primrose gets picked to be in the Hunger Games, where basically kids have to fight to the death by force. They literally have no option, okay? Primrose got chose. Katniss knew she was gonna die, so she volunteered and took her place. Also, the other person that got picked for it, they get picked, one boy and one girl, was Peeta Mellark, okay? And Peeta is secretly in love with Katniss, and Katniss used that to her advantage to win the Hunger Games. She finessed him. Not only did she finesse Peeta, she finessed the system too, and they were not happy about it. So, aside from Katniss dealing with Peeta's emotions and whatnot, she has a best friend named Gale, who was also secretly in love with her. That's all you need to know for this messy review that I'm about to give of Catching Fire. Throughout this movie, Katniss is just dealing with the trauma of being in the Hunger Games, and so is Peeta, okay? We really get to see how messed up this world is and how it affects innocent children, okay? Innocent children literally are forced to kill each other for no reason, okay? It's really, really dark. It's really, really gritty. It's really, really gritty. And that's one thing that really kind of annoyed me about this Hunger Games phase, is that so many more people were involved, like in love with the romance aspect of it instead of the actual content of it. Like, I understand the romance aspect of it is great, I'm not gonna lie, but that's only like, let's say there's like 5 parts to this story. The romance aspect is only like 1/5 of it. And then it's the one that everyone focused on so much, and I could not stand it. Because I love the romance aspect of it, okay? I thought it was done really, really well. It was very, very interesting. But I was like, y'all, there is way more to this story besides the freaking love triangle, okay? And my little 14-year-old self was eating up that love triangle, but I also loved it for the other reasons too. And the thing about Gale is that my problem with it, I'm going to get more into Gale talk later, but because this is actually relevant to what I'm speaking about now, is that he was just so stuck on the fact that she had a thing with Peeta going on. I was like, she literally was about to be killed by demonic children, because some of them kids she had to fight up against were crazy. They were literally training to be in the Hunger Games all their lives, okay? She literally had to fight freaking demonic kids. She literally had to kill people, and she didn't want to do it. Give her a break, Gale. She is not here for your emotions. Leave Candace alone. I would literally have been so annoyed with Gale. Like, I literally would have stopped being his friend if he was acting that way. I was like, I understand you have a crush on me. And I'm like, yeah, you can still be friends with people that have crushes on you. I'm a firm believer in that. But it's kind of like Gale kind of like had no boundaries in this movie. But we're going to stop talking about Gale right here, because character talk for him is going to be fun. It's going to be real, real fun. Slightly off topic, but I know Gale was not happy when Peeta announced that Katniss was pregnant. I knew he was shaking his boots. I knew it. Katniss is currently dealing with being a winner, okay? She's dealing with the duties and responsibilities that come with being a winner. She got a new house. She got money now. But she's able to travel now. She's not worrying about where her next meal is going to come from. She has great, amazing food to eat. But she's still not happy. She's still not happy, even though she helps her country and whatever and stuff like that. She's still not happy. And one thing I really do appreciate Catching Fire, one thing that I noticed but a lot of people probably didn't notice, is that money does not make you happy, okay? We got to see how even though Katniss had all this money, and like I said, money don't make you happy, but it's sure not gonna make you sad either. With this movie, we got to see that while Katniss was able to finally financially support herself and not have to worry about it, we saw kind of like her decline in her mental health and her physical health also, because it's just like she's just kind of like, I don't like this. I don't want this dirty, filthy money, because money is literally the reason why all of this terrible stuff in the world is happening. The world is really, really messed up. Our world and their world. So one thing about how Katniss, I said earlier how she finessed the system, the government is after her, okay? The government is freaking after her. So they rearranged it to where Katniss gonna have to go back to the Hunger Games. But not only is she going back to the Hunger Games, she's fighting against adults, okay? She's fighting against adults this time. She's not fighting against kids. So yeah, these are all people that have been in Hunger Games in the past. These are people that have killed people already, okay? The kids from the first time literally never killed a person in their life. These are experienced killers. It's really, really freaking crazy, okay? That's just the first half of the movie. That alone, like that literally right there when they announced she's going back to the game, that's literally the first half of the movie. I love the first half of this movie so much. The second half is amazing too. It's the first half because I love the first half of the book way more than I like the second half. The second half is great too. It's the first half because the first half we genuinely got to see how this scary, ugly, nasty world functions without the games going on because the games are treated like a reality show. Here, we got to see the aftermath of that reality show and how they tend to think that this is helpful, but we actually get to see how it is hurting people. Like, one thing about the first movie is that it's just the games most of the time. About 30 minutes in, we get the background content of it, and then we just strictly just got the games whatsoever after that. Here, we not only do we get the games, it's just why the movie was so freaking long. It was so freaking long. We got the games, but we also just get to see, we just get to let the movie sit for a minute. The movie just sits for a moment before it starts the more chaotic business. It's still chaotic in the first half, but the second half is just like, can I catch a break? Can I catch a freaking break? Like, especially with the Capitol people, because in the first movie, we got a glimpse of what the Capitol people were like. We were like, oh, they dress funny. They have money. But here, we genuinely get to see that these Capitol people don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They literally waste food. They don't think about anyone's feelings but themselves and the people that live within the Capitol. They think that this, like, okay, here's the Capitol and here's the outside world. If it has nothing to do with the Capitol's well-being, they don't care. Don't I sound like a familiar country? Yeah, they don't care. Capitol is actually very, very ugly. It's a very, very ugly situation. I'm just like, this movie's amazing. I need y'all to go watch it. Go watch it if you've never seen it. Before we can get into character talk, I have to mention that basically this movie is just a build-up for an uprising that is coming. And the first go-around, you can't really notice it, but if you rewatch it a second time, you notice slowly that there is something fishy going on with these people. And it's like a lot of secrets going on. Without it, you can slowly see that there is an uprising starting because people are sick. People are tired of it. People are sick and tired of the mess from this Capitol. They are tired of the mess from the president. They're just over it and they want change. And they saw how Katniss finessed the system with the first Hunger Games. They want her to be like the mascot, and they are using Katniss as an opportunity for the world to be better. And wow, they literally put all of this on a 17-year-old girl. Whoa. Okay. Also, this is a side note, but y'all are not Katniss Everdeen. A lot of y'all little activists that just reblog stuff on Tumblr and retweet on Twitter and post Instagram stuff on your story, y'all are not Katniss Everdeen. Y'all are not Captain Everdeen, okay? Stop thinking you are, because you're not. Like, throughout this movie, you just see how everyone is getting more angry, and it is amazing. The pacing throughout this movie where you just get like the build up to where everything just kind of explodes at the end, it's huge. It's huge and it is done beautifully. Now we're getting into my favorite part of my little messy reviews. I'm gonna start calling them Harriyanna's messy reviews, okay? That's what y'all want to call them. Let's have a name for them now. Character talk. We always save character talk for last because it is my favorite, because you guys know I am big on character, okay? I'm low-key kind of one of those people that focuses more on character than I do on story, and here the characters are done so well, and I just gotta give them more applause, okay? I have to give them their applause. Also, we're not talking about everybody. We can't talk about everyone. That's one thing I have noticed about the Hunger Games, is that there are so many freaking characters. We can't talk about everybody, because if we do, this video gonna be 3 hours long, and I know y'all not gonna want to sit here and watch that. So yeah, I cut it down to about, I don't know, probably like 8 characters. I don't know. The ones that I like the most, the ones that I feel like are worth mentioning. And then we're going to mention some other characters afterwards, but they're not going to be in character talks. So yeah, let's begin. I kind of just picked out who I wanted. Before we begin, like I said, I'm sorry for before we can begin again. Literally everybody in this movie either deserve better or they deserve nothing at all. They deserve better or nothing at all. Gale is like the only person I can throw in between that. But literally everybody here deserves better or nothing. First, we're going to start with the star, Katniss. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like people are a little too hard on Katniss. Like, yo, she literally never had a happy day in her life. She literally was forced into a situation she didn't want to be in, and now her life is just tumbling more and more and more and more into a dark hole. I feel like people are a little too hard on Katniss in the given circumstances that she's in. You wouldn't be the nicest person either if you already dealt with so much in your childhood and then you were forced to kill innocent teenagers that you didn't even know. No, I'm not saying that this makes up excuses for her behavior, because you guys know I am big on that, thinking like what happened to you in your life, you should not treat people that way. But some of the stuff she did sometimes, I was just like, Katniss, come on, I understand. Ma'am, you're going through it, but girl, sis, come on. Like, she was getting on my freaking nerves when she kept flip-flopping back and forth between Gale and Peeta, and my little 15-year-old self was eating it up, okay? I was still eating it up now when I rewatched it, okay? I was living for that love triangle, even though I said the romance aspect was only about a fifth of this entire franchise. It was one of the best parts, though. It was one of the best parts, though. It wasn't the only one, though, and I gotta give them their props when it's due. But Katniss was really getting on my nerves with that. Like, she wasn't being direct and honest with them. That Katniss was wrong a lot of the times, and she knew she was wrong too. That's why I can give her props when they're due for her behavior, because even though her behavior was unacceptable from time to time, she knew she was wrong. She knew she was in the wrong. She wasn't gonna act like she was innocent. That's why I kind of can respect Katniss way more than I can an Azula or a Jay West or anything like that. I'm telling you, I didn't even know about good fan fiction then, when that love triangle was controlling me, okay, and I was living for it. I was living for that freaking love triangle. I'm not gonna act like I was better than anybody because, oh, the love triangle was neat. No, it was great. It was great. It wasn't the only thing, but it was great. There's so much more about the Hunger Games that was amazing. But the love triangle had me. Katniss was like hurting 24/7, and she rarely let anyone show it. Like, she barely even let her loved ones show it. The only person that really kind of saw that she was hurting like that was Peeta. And throughout this movie, we get to see her and Peeta develop a very beautiful friendship. The thing about Katniss is that even though she was very kind of like stubborn and stoic and whatnot, she did genuinely care for people, okay? That's why, another reason why I was like, her actions and whatever, she genuinely did care about people, and she did want to help people. She just was not the best about going about it, because she was just so... I think Katniss is a great protagonist. Like, no, she's not dislikable, but she's not all the way likable either. She's the main character for a reason. Like I said, her not being too likable, but her not also being dislikable either, she carried the story. She's a really well-written main character, and I can't see Katniss being any other kind of character in story but the main character, because she carried it so well on her back. And because she was such an amazing main character, you still rooted for her. Like, literally, everybody was setting up a plan to save her because they knew good and well that she was special. They knew good and well she was special. And Katniss Everdeen was special. She was very, very special. And they literally were just setting everything up to make sure that she was not dead and that they could get this revolution popping so the world could be a better place. And they used Katniss Everdeen, a little 17-year-old girl, to do this. Deserved more. Peeta deserved better. Peeta literally is one of the sweetest boys ever. Like, I literally would love a boyfriend like Peeta, okay? Even though I'm more of a Finnick girl. We'll get into Finnick later. But Peeta deserved everything, okay? Peeta just deserves so much more, okay? The thing about Peeta, though, is that in Catching Fire, he got a backbone, because he did not have that backbone. In the first movie and the second movie, though, he realized that, like, he would have been dead if it wasn't for Katniss. He realized that if Katniss was not there saving his behind, he would not be alive. So he toughened up, and I like that. I really did like that about Peeta. Like I said, I really, really like the character development throughout this franchise, but especially in the second movie, where we genuinely see how this situation changed them as people, it's very prominent that they're not the same person anymore. Katniss really was all he had, and he barely even had her half the time because Peeta didn't really mess with his family like that. Like, he lived alone when he was able to get his new house. He really didn't really mess with his family like that. Like, his dad was nice, but not really kind of there for him. His mother was abusive, literally one of the most hated characters in this franchise, and she was only in it for who knows how long. But yeah, we don't have no respect for abusive parents over here. We don't. We don't. Like I said, in this movie, we really got to see the beautiful friendship between Katniss and Peeta. Where Peeta, even though he did have a crush on her, he gave her time. He was just like, okay, you don't have to talk to me if you don't, but it would be a little bit nicer if you kind of like stop like pretending with me and whatnot. We got to see that Katniss and Peeta had like something so special, okay? Them just deciding to be friends and not forcing themselves into a relationship. Them being friends, we genuinely got to see that he did love her for who she was, ugly and all. He loved her for who she was. And in this movie, in the first movie, she literally just played him so she wouldn't die. But in this movie, we get to see that she genuinely does appreciate all that he does for her, and he is genuinely a good person. And Katniss slowly starts to fall in love with him through this movie, and it's so beautiful to see. Like, their friendship in this movie had my heart whatsoever. Overall, Peeta's a good guy, and I think he's literally one of the most great characters in here. Like, when it comes to goodness level, we don't speak about what he did in the next movie because it wasn't his fault. But yeah, Peeta literally was like one of the most purest characters here, if you ask me. Next, we're moving on to Gale. I was not too big on Gale like a lot of people were. Even when I just read the book and like didn't really care too much. I feel like people only liked Gale because he was played by Hannah Montana's ex-boyfriend and Thor's brother. I feel like that's the only reason why they liked Gale so much, because of that and because he was attractive. Gale overall is not a very likable person. He gives me jealous ex-boyfriend vibes. My problem with Gale is that anytime he was around Katniss, he brought the negative out in her. Versus with Peeta, Peeta brought the positive out of her. We actually got to see her smile when she was with Peeta. With Gale, she was just like, I can't stand you, but give me a kiss. He literally brought the bad out of her. He brought the bad out of her. And it's sad because it's like, Gale had been secretly in love with Katniss too, like Peeta was. But because he actually, like, got to know her way better than Peeta did, he got to see her, like, flaws and all. And I think they did have a genuinely good friendship before the games when, you know, the whole fake relationship with Peeta started. But here, it really shows that, like, he's the jealous type. And it stinks. Like, one thing about Gale that pissed me off is that he didn't really have much respect for Katniss in this movie. Like, yes, he understood that, but him, like, just being on her about, like, what are your feelings for me? What are your feelings for me? I'm like, Katniss is literally not trying to lose her sanity, sir. Like, could you at least respect her on that? I just found that really, really distasteful in my opinion. Like, Katniss, I did understand it was annoying how she didn't know what she wanted and she always flipped back and forth between Peeta and whatever. But it's just kind of like he wasn't thinking about her feelings whatsoever because she was living a completely different life than he did, and he wasn't even taking that into consideration. We're talking about Cinna. My favorite character. Cinna was the best character. Well, he wasn't the best character, but he was my favorite. Don't care. Cinna deserved so much better. Cinna deserved so much better. He was so beautiful. So sweet. I love Cinna so much. I don't even want to talk about that scene because it hurted. I actually cried during that scene, okay, because I love Cinna so much. Cinna was Katniss' stylist, okay? They met in the first movie, but in this movie we genuinely got to see them become friends, and it was so cute when she saw that Cinna was back in her life. Like, I was like literally like fangirling. I was here for Katniss and Cinna's friendship. It was just so gorgeous, and Cinna was genuinely just a good person. Like, even though he had like a really creative way of showing his rebellion, okay? Like, he did his rebellion through fashion, and that's one thing I genuinely loved about this movie, is because everybody was different about the way they went about this rebellion. And Cinna's way was doing it through clothes. Like, he was just so sick of the Capitol's mess, and I was just like, yes, Cinna. Cinna was like the calm, cool, collective character. Like, he was like, I'm aware of all this effery going on, but you know what, I'm gonna just chill, do things my way. It's gonna get better eventually. It's gonna get better eventually. But the sad thing about that is that he got caught. He got caught, and I was just like, oh, Cinna deserved better. Cinna deserved so much better. Like, I was still thinking about Cinna's death after I read that book, because it hurted me. Like, I actually had to put the book down when he got beaten to death. I couldn't deal with it. I was just like, my favorite character is gone, and I don't know how I feel about this. Suzanne, we need to have a talk, okay? I still ain't forgive you for what you did to Cinna. Next we're talking about Finnick. I love Finnick so much. Finnick is my second favorite character aside from Cinna. I would do anything for this white man, okay? I know that sounds so problematic, but I would literally do anything for this white man right here. Finnick O there. Like, Finnick was fine, and he knew it. He knew he was fine, okay? And the thing about Finnick is that he won his Hunger Games when he was like 14. So this is probably about like 9 years down the road when he's like 25. Like, Finnick knew he was beautiful, and he knew it, okay? Everybody loved Finnick, okay? Whatsoever. He was that dude. He was that dude. And not only was he fine, he was really nice. He was real nice, real sweet dude. You could trust him. Sometimes you couldn't trust him because you couldn't go about the way he was doing things. But Finnick genuinely was a good dude. The thing I truly love about Finnick is that he always stayed positive no matter what. He tried his best to stay positive, but you know good and well he wanted to go burn down President Snow's house. Like, it's like Finnick is like, you know that meme when a person's like, they smiling and then there's like a fire burning in the background? That was Finnick. He was trying to keep it together. He always did what he could to appear like he was happy, but on the inside he wanted to go burn down President Snow's house, okay? He wanted to go pull a left eye. He wanted to go pull a left eye. Let's be talking about Johanna. Now, Johanna, I think she actually would have burned the house down. She would have burned the house down and not cared, okay? Johanna was that girl. Johanna was bad girl whatsoever. We stand Johanna here. One thing about Johanna is that she did not care. Y'all over here looking up to Sharpay and Jade West. Look up to Johanna. Johanna is the girl that you need to go to for that, because I stand Johanna. I look up to her whatsoever. I wish that I had the confidence that Johanna had, because she genuinely did not care, okay? Johanna literally did not care about what would freaking happen to her, okay? Like I said, I think she would have burned down the house and not cared if they murdered her right after, okay? I love Johanna. Johanna deserved better, and I'm glad she did deserve better at the end, but you know, we're just talking about Catching Fire, standalone movie Catching Fire, okay? Nothing else. Johanna, she was a little iffy from time to time, but you did see that she did have good intentions, though. Johanna did have good intentions. She just had a hard way of showing it, okay? Because she was just so fed up with everything. Like I said, Johanna wanted to go burn the house down. President Snow. Hate him. Great villain, though. You're supposed to hate him, okay? You're supposed to hate President Snow. Let's take Descendants, for example. Y'all know good and well Descendants always comes up in what I'm talking about. Let's take Descendants Beast, because the Beast is literally why the Descendants world was messed up. And President Snow isn't the exact reason why it's still messed up, but he's the reason why it still is messed up. He's not the reason why it was messed up. He's the reason why it's still messed up. He's like Descendants Beast, but on 10. He's Descendants Beast, but on 10. He's scary. He genuinely is very scary, okay? Like I said, he is an amazing villain. You literally could not wait for him to shrivel up and die. You just couldn't wait. You couldn't wait for him to shrivel up and die. Bitch. I'll be real. I'm not too big on haymitch like everyone else did. He was a good mentor. He was an alcoholic because of the games, and I love how they actually did put a lot of realistic aspects into this world about trauma and whatnot and how people cope with it differently. He was funny. I'm not gonna lie. Haymitch was funny. He had a lot of the great one-liners. He always put Katniss in her place, and I enjoyed that because Katniss needed it sometimes. Like I said, some of the stuff she would say was just very out of line and out of pocket. I genuinely do like the fact that he put her in her place from time to time. And I remember he straight up told Katniss that Peeta was too good for him, and she knew it. She knew Peeta was too good for her. I think Peeta was too good for her, even though I did like them as a couple. But yeah, Haymitch overall didn't, like I said, I didn't really care too much for him, but I appreciate him as a character because he did help Katniss and Peeta not die. And he genuinely did care for them. Like I say, he just had a bad way of showing it. Effie. Effie genuinely is just funny to me now. A lot of people like to use Effie for memes and whatever. I understand. Effie's hilarious. But in this movie, like I said in the first movie, we don't really get to see much of Effie, like, as a person. Like, we see she's just there to do her job. But here, in this movie, we get to see that she grows an attachment to Katniss, and she sees how special this girl is. And we do get to see Effie change a little bit because she is finally opening her eyes that the capital is not a good place. And she wants change too, even though she is a bit scared of what might happen to her. We genuinely do get to see that Effie does care for these people and whatnot. And Effie's not actually terrible because we can view Effie as a bit of a villain towards the beginning of the movie. But as it goes on and we genuinely see her as a person and we see how much this is hurting her, Effie's great. I love Effie. She's hilarious. Great performance. Effie's amazing. I don't really care too much for Prim. She was just there. She was Katniss' little sister. She, like I said, if the story was about Prim, there would only be one book. Prim literally was, she was just Katniss' sister. I don't know what to say about her. Like, that makes me kind of sad because I loved Prim when I was younger. When I'm older and I rewatched this, I was just like, I don't care about her. I don't care about Prim. I don't care about Prim. I don't. Now we're moving on to Caesar. I love Caesar. I genuinely love Caesar. Like, one thing about Caesar is that a lot of people didn't like Caesar, but I personally like Caesar because he was just there to do his job. He was just there to be happy. He was like a Ryan Seacrest, if that makes sense. Didn't somebody actually compare Caesar Flickerman to Ryan Seacrest? I'm pretty sure they did. But Caesar was just there to do his job, and that's what he did. You couldn't really, like, see in the beginning of how he felt about everything, but as time was going on, you could tell Caesar low-key wanted to burn the house down too, okay? But he knew good and well, because he was a public figure, that if he tried to go burn the house down, they would have got him. They would have got him. So one thing about Caesar is that he was smart. He knew that, like, something bad would happen to him if he tried to take part in this rebellion. But you could tell he supported it. You could tell he was here for it. Now, I give my props to you, Caesar Flickerman. I give your props to you. Even though, like, Caesar, you can tell Caesar genuinely did care because he always has to do the interviews with the people that are coming into the games and fighting and whatnot. And sometimes you can actually tell that he's like, this is actually messed up. This is an innocent child that we're literally throwing out into an arena. And here he's just like, wow, these people suffering enough and they still suffering. I'm so sorry. Not so sorry. I'm so sorry. But Caesar, in my opinion, I thought he was genuinely good. But he did what he could to protect himself and his family and whatever. We gotta talk about what I didn't like. Y'all know I love the Hunger Games. And like I said, it's one of my top 10 favorite movies ever. I love this movie, but y'all know me, and if I see a flaw, I'm gonna have to talk about it. The diversity kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. No, I'm not saying that it didn't have diversity. I'm saying that diversity sucks just a little bit. It sucks just a little bit because at the end of the day, it still revolved around white people. It still revolved around white people, okay? The main three leads, Gale, Peeta, and Katniss, are played by white people, okay? They're played by white people. And we do see a lot of people of color throughout this movie, especially a lot of black people. We genuinely do get to see how this world is affecting them and their uprisings and things like that. That stuff is great. That stuff is amazing. But my problem with it is that why I'm tired of movies doing this stuff like this is where they use the black characters as a way for the white characters to advance. As if the white people are doing the black characters a favor. Like, I'm not trying to say that the Hunger Games is a bit guilty from white saviorism. It is though. It is though. I didn't want to say that, but it is, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's just like the black people, it's literally like all the black people were there in some kind of way to benefit the white kids. And I don't know. I didn't like that. I really didn't like that. And the last thing I didn't like about this movie, where was Madge? Where was Madge? I loved Madge. What happened to her? Madge was Katniss's friend from the book. Katniss had a friend, a female friend from the book. That's one thing a lot of people don't know if you just watch these movies. Madge had a great friendship with Katniss, and in a book we didn't really get to see too much of it, but we did genuinely see that Katniss enjoyed having her in her company and whatever. And in this movie, I think it really would have been nice if Katniss did have a female friend her own age. Like, it's important to have friends of the same gender as you. That's just something that I've noticed. It's important. It really does help you, because I remember for the longest that there was a point in my life where I really kind of only just had friends that were guys, and I was just like, no, I need a girl that I can relate to with. It really would have been nice to see Katniss interact with a girl her own age. Those are like my only two issues I have with this movie. Overall, I loved it. I love this movie whatsoever. I'm not too big on editing or whatever. Yeah, I've heard people complain about that before, but I genuinely love this movie whatsoever with all my heart. Does Harriyanna recommend you watch Catching Fire? Of course, I highly recommend this movie. But if you're really sensitive to topics about like war and propaganda and like kids dying and people killing each other and whatnot, like basically anything that is on the ID Discovery Channel, if you're really sensitive to content like that, then no, don't watch it. But if you're not and you just genuinely want like a good story, watch The Hunger Games Catching Fire, okay? You don't have to watch the first movie. You don't gotta watch the last two. Just watch this one, okay? Like Shrek 2. Just watch this one and you'll be fine, okay? Catching Fire is an amazing movie. I highly recommend everybody go watch it, okay? Okay? I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more of me and whatever, go follow me on Instagram for free. It's free. Go follow me on Tumblr for free. Go follow me on my new Twitter for free. Yeah, if you want to see more of me, go over there. I love you guys so much, and thank you guys for watching.
Buttercup like villains 3 at a time. Bubbles will smile while kicking your butt, and Blossom will lead them out of their rut. Cherish and Powerpuff, 2 of a kind. Both wanna save the world before bedtime. From Townsville, Memphis, New York to LA, the Powerpuff Girls are just here to stay.